Good day. Thank you for joining us. This is the Manila Times Coffee Break. I'm the Fort Villasaran, and today our webisode's title is borrowed from the pages of J.K. Rowling's Harry Potter series. If you'll allow if you'll indulge me, I would like to present the title of our webisode today as "Defense of the Legal Arts: Protection for the Practitioners in the Law Profession." And with us today are four lawyers. We have attorney Roel Ilagan, who is the managing partner of Gargantiel Ilagan and Atanante, or GIA Law. We also have attorney Cynthia Rojas of CG Rojas Law Office, a private practitioner. And we also have another private practitioner, attorney Ginger Castillo. And last but not least, of course, is attorney Basco Tagarda, who is a partner at Diaz and Del Rosario Law Office. Good day, attorneys. How are you?
Morning, sir.
Good day,
Have all of you come from any sessions or meetings at courts today, or is this your first meeting for the day?
For me, I just came from the court sa Pasay po.
How was it? Was it successful? Did you have a good session?
Okay naman po. Nireset lang din. Pero at least I was able to make it in time for this interview, sir.
Yes. It's I know a lawyer's time is gold, and in fact, not just your time, but your very lives. Given that our topic is very timely today, a lot of lawyers in the pursuit of their profession have actually put their lives on the line and have paid for it because of their belief in the law system and in their clients. So with that, may I ask each one of you to first tell me why you wanted to put yourselves in such a dangerous and deadly and difficult profession, the practice of law, and how you got started, who inspired you, where you took your studies, and how you got involved with your current practice. Maybe we can start with our professor, Attorney Roel Ilagan. I understand that you also teach, or you still teach law?
Yes, that's correct. So good day, everyone. And I would like to thank you, the Fort, and of course, the Manila Times for allowing us or this opportunity to discuss this topic, which is very relevant with the increasing number of violent attacks directed against members of the legal profession. We cannot just dismiss this reality. So as to your question, I've always been fascinated with how lawyers are able to direct the course of the trial. That's really my inspiration when I was still a child. But now I think more than that, it's really the opportunity to help others. People go to lawyers because they want to find comfort, security in times of stressful and difficult times. And that fact is, for me, is very, very rewarding. So now I'm part of the litigation department of Gargantiel Ilagan and Atanante law offices. I always find litigation to be very, very challenging, but I love challenges. I always want to think on my feet and to be always on my toes. So that's it.
How was your first work with GIA Law? How did it start? How did you begin your interaction or partnership with them?
Okay, so after passing the bar exam, I was employed at Accra Law Office for more than 2 years, and then I transferred to GIA Law Office as a senior associate. And after 2 years, I was promoted as a partner. And now, luckily, and with the trust and confidence of my other partners, I am now the managing partner of GIA Law.
Uh-huh. So that's something that really puts you in a good position to be able to discuss our topic today, because you have one foot in the academe, one foot in the practice, and not just the practice, but in the management of the practice. But then perhaps we can get insights from our next attorney who has a private practice. Attorney Rojas, could you tell us more about yourself and your journey as a lawyer?
I actually was technically forced to get into law. Parents were both lawyers. I also have on my mother's side my grandfather was teaching law, Spanish pa at the time. So I used to be a journalist. when I growing up in Baguio City. So my parents said, since I talk and I write well, daw. So there was no other way for me but to get into law school. I actually graduated um, far way back, but I only became a lawyer in 2001. After graduation, I dabbled into showbiz. I was
Mhm.
in the recording industry, and it really hit me kasi it was my interest to be I'm people oriented, and I like being in ad prom. So more or less, I use the knowledge that I have of advertising and media management for my own law practice. So going back to law was not difficult because I was surrounded by, other than my parents, I have siblings who are also lawyers, and I was I took up from coming from Baguio. I came down to San Beda and finished my law school there. So now, after trying to be in a partnership with my brother, after his promotion to the judiciary, I tried to venture into solo practice. And so far, because I like being in court every day, every single day of my life, I haven't burned out yet. And I'm into litigation. I usually take cases, family law, criminal law, and sometimes when it's election years, election law. So it's very interesting. On the side, my advocacy is helping students become lawyers. So I have volunteered. I am also a volunteer lawyer for San Beda Legal Aid. And I am very, very happy and proud of the fact that all my interns, all those who have come uh, under my mentorship are all now lawyers. So I hope to be able to mentor more students to become lawyers.
That's very interesting because given our title for today and from how we had borrowed and not stolen from J.K. Rowling, because that would be legally prosecutable. We would be able They would be able to follow up on our infringement of their copyright. But defense of the legal arts actually implies that you have aside from practitioners, you have students of it and you have teachers of it. So you had actually also taught a lot of current lawyers now. You had actually helped them to be able to pursue the profession.
Yes, but I'm not actually a law professor. I just really volunteered when the opportunity came for me to be able to help some students, fourth year students then. I said that it would be a nice opportunity to try to help them get along in the practice. Because when I started out, believe it or not, I didn't have any inkling as to what law practice actually like. It was just the books.
Mhm.
And reading the books is different from actual real life. That's why when I had the chance to try to help other students start it out in the legal profession, it was really challenging and so fulfilling because when you see them now, especially now, I see them in court with me, I say it's been a real fulfilling time for me as a lawyer, as a legal practitioner.
That's good to know that whether it's being part of a legal practice, a partnership, or even a solo practice, there is that sense of fulfillment. Aside from the fact that it was in your blood, and you were able to pursue your other passions, you did come back to the practice, and then you shared your knowledge about it even afterwards. How about Attorney Ginger Castillo? Could we ask your insights or your experience? Could you tell us more about your experience as a private practitioner?
As a private practitioner, um, everything depends on you. I have no associates. But of course, I have my messenger and my secretary. But all the work would depend on when I want to do it, when I can do it. So what happens is I don't have vacations. I went to My longest vacation was when I went to Italy. That was 13 days. And during that time, I was reviewing contracts and uh, writing pleadings while on the tourist bus. But what's nice about being a private practitioner is the buck ends here. You cannot blame anyone for any faux pas. You cannot, if the case goes well, well, it's just all you. And for me, it's very rewarding because, since I don't have associates, my clients talk to me all the time, and they became friends. So you didn't just help them; you established relations with them, and that for me is really rewarding.
So you gain control of your time, and you gain not just clients but friends. How did you get started in this profession and gain such rewards?
Um, well, my father is a lawyer. So he used to take us to court every day. And I was awed at how he was able to help people. He also had free legal cases where they'd give him manga or
So
or
totoo talaga yon, hindi lang yun,
yun.
may manok
So,
talagang pambayad.
yes, and I was touched whenever I'd hear them. But my father was very strict. Namamalo yun eh. So, I wanted to become a lawyer also because I wanted to sue him.
That's
I took photos. I took photos of, the bruises, but then only to realize that by the time that I graduated law school, that the time to file the action had already prescribed. And aside from that, I wouldn't want to go against him because he's really good.
Well, that's really defense of the legal arts. You're defending yourself against one of the major influences in your life.
Yes.
How about you, Attorney Tagarda? How did you come about getting into the practice of law, and how did you get involved with your current firm?
Yes, sir. It came early. Parang, I think I was in grade 4, I think. And then we were, assignment in school was that we were asked to draft an essay on the death penalty. So
This was fourth grade.
fourth grade. Fourth grade.
Okay.
Then my mom, being the tiger mom that she was, so asked me to, let's go to our neighbor, si Attorney Mabunga, na he's also a very respected member sa village po namin. And then actually I was hesitating, parang nasa pedestal kasi siya. And then when we went there, tapos biglang I was surprised na, what's your ganyan. Tapos yun, binigyan niya na ako ng lecture on criminal law 1, definition of a felony, mga ganon, di ba? So parang isipin mo, parang this guy na sobrang respected sa community, talking to me like as if seryoso and then helping me, parang na-inspire ako na parang I wanna be like this guy.
And then you managed to make the leap and follow in his footsteps.
Yun, ako. And then college, tapos I took up political science, and then sabi ko, if I want to make something of myself, kung ipupursue ko tong political science, I have to earn my doctorate degree. So 4 years din yun. So might as well try also to go into law school. By the grace of God, nakapasa naman po ako. So sa law exam, so tuloy-tuloy na po. And then now I'm in private practice. And then I found na people come to you na they're desperate eh. Wala silang ibang, and then ikaw yung source nila of hope, ikaw yung source nila of comfort. And actually, for us lawyers, nakakapagod din yun dahil once a client goes to you, they can actually forget about their problems. Pasan mo na yun eh. But
you had actually, ikaw yung nagiging parang you're passing the torch eh. Ikaw na yung nagiging inspirasyon sa kanila, di ba? Either maging lawyers themselves or at least matutong lumaban at ipagtanggol kung ano yung mga karapatan ng tao.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And now, na dapat tagapagtanggol, tayo ang hinahunt down. Tayo ang nagiging prey ng mga masasamang elemento.
Actually, thank you very much for saying tayo. Parang feeling ko nasama na ako sa mga ano, mga tinatawag na attorney. Pero it is true what you said na delikado ngayon yung panahon. Hindi naman sa ngayon lang, pero parang lalong nagiging delikado dahil in the pursuit of the profession, you're actually literally put in harm's way. Maybe we can ask one of the professors, si Attorney Ilagan, to share with us what are the possible writs or court orders that can that can be weaponized, that we can use to protect the members of the legal profession.
Well, there are already legal remedies that are in place that parties can avail of in order to address these possible violent attacks against the members of the legal profession. So we have the writ of amparo. So generally, the writ of amparo is a remedy available to any person whose right to life, liberty, and security is threatened to be violated. So this writ of amparo, it covers usually extrajudicial killings and enforced disappearances. But unfortunately, based on the recent cases and jurisprudence decided by the Supreme Court, there's no lawyer who has availed of this legal remedy. So the latest cases is in 2013 and in 2008. And in those cases, in 2008, that is the landmark case of the writ of amparo involving these brothers, Manolo brothers, who were deprived of liberty because they were allegedly tagged as members of the Communist Party. So they availed of this remedy in order for them to be protected from the unlawful deprivation of their security and liberty. So after the 2008 case, there is this 2013 case filed by Noriel Rodriguez, who's also allegedly tagged as members of the Communist Party. So the writ of amparo in the case of Rodriguez was also granted by the court because of the deprivation of liberty and threatened violation to his security. But now there are no cases filed by lawyers availing of this remedy of writ of amparo. So the question now is, why are we not availing these available remedies in order to address our concerns on threats to our life, liberty, and security? So that is a very important question that we have to address.
So, in terms of defense of the legal arts and the protection protection for the law profession, why do you think this is so? Given that there seems to be an increase in the number of extrajudicial killings and targeting of lawyers, why would you think then this existing protection is not being utilized?
Yes, there is an increase of cases involving attacks against lawyers, but unfortunately, lawyers are not availing of these remedies. I think personally, there is a fear of stigma if lawyers will come forward. Because as I mentioned earlier, lawyers are being seen as someone who can provide comfort and security to their clients. So if a lawyer would come forward and say or report that they receive attacks, threats, or any violations of their right to life, this can negatively affect their reputation as lawyers. Probably people will think that they are too weak to be in this legal profession. So I think that is one of the things why lawyers do not avail of these legal remedies. That's why this is very important topic. That's why we have to discuss this topic in order for people to realize and for lawyers to realize that these things can happen and these things can happen to anybody.
I'd like to add something.
Yes, go ahead, please.
Sometimes as lawyers, we prioritize others. We don't think of ourselves. So you do this first, you handle this case first, you talk to your clients first, and then you realize you forgot about filing that writ of amparo. Because anyway, you survived, and maybe they won't attempt again.
Talking about survival, we have to remember that not all lawyers are survivors. I mean, those who get attacked, they become victims too. And sometimes it takes guts for their family to really come forward. Okay, a lot of times the threats coming to lawyers or the members of the legal profession are work related, or it really is actually because of cases that they've handled. And I think the most recent ones, the one involving the case of Attorney Joey V in Cebu and the lawyer from Palawan, these are believed to be work related. So I guess what really should happen is that in December of 2020, group of lawyers already begged, actually went to the Supreme Court to try to ask for more, uh, uh, probably for updates, for greater arming of the lawyers or the members of the legal profession, precisely because as of 2020, I think there were already 54 cases of violence committed against members of the legal profession. And when we talk about this class of people, it talks about lawyers like us, judges, prosecutors, and maybe to a certain extent, even the paralegals. And I think it really comes from the cases that we handle and the work that we do. So really, there should be an effort to push for uh, more updates on investigations, because obviously when a violent when violence is reported, the police or the judiciary or the Supreme Court even steps in and asks that investigations be conducted. However, unfortunately, after a certain time, the people kind of forget about these cases. So I think what should happen is that we as lawyers take arms, take the cudgels for our fellow lawyers who are victims of this violence, so that the people are updated and we are somehow more in tune, probably, with our responsibility to our co-members in the legal profession. We need to come together and really look for updates, not only for ourselves, not only to satisfy our curiosity, but also for the people who depend on us for legal aid. I think that's important because, like my co-panelists here said, it is important for ordinary people to feel safe with us. And if we lawyers cannot feel safe ourselves, then I guess that is a problem for other people as well, because people will look at us like an endangered species. And in time, we may be just that. But lawyering is really a good profession to be in.
Perhaps a task force assigned to these investigations and prosecutions, or organizations, maybe?
Well, right now, the Supreme Court already intervened by working with IBP, Philippine Bar Association, National Union of People's Lawyers, the DOJ, the NBI, the PAO, the DND, the DILG, the AFP, the PNP, the CHR, law school deans, judges, and clerks of court to properly address the attack on lawyers. Now, like Cynthia said, I wish there were updates.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, I think that perhaps the Supreme Court should also look into the reason why lawyers are targeted. Is it an act of vengeance? Is it because this lawyer double-crossed his client? Perhaps we should look at the root cause and solve that one. And things would be better. Another is, I think that lawyers are taken for granted by society in the sense that they don't really appreciate the things that we do for everyone. For so long as hindi ka pa nakasuhan, hindi mo ma-appreciate yung hirap ng mga abogado. Right?
Mm-hmm.
So you will see other cases like the Dacer case. Inggit na inggit ako doon. Nag-double autopsy pa sila.
Mm-hmm.
But for lawyers, meron bang gano'n? Dacer, for lawyers, meron bang gano'n? Meron bang ganong ingay? There's none. So sana naman, these are friends, parents, children, tao rin naman yung lawyers allegedly. Sana naman bigyan din sila ng ganong importansya. In the same way that, people talk about what Chris Aquino had for breakfast. Why don't you talk about why this lawyer died? And keep on talking about it until the perpetrators are found.
Could such actions then be furthered by organizations, lawyer organizations such as the Integrated Bar of the Philippines and so forth?
Yes, the IBP should be vigilant about these things. Yes, it's good that there is a task force, but maybe they have to keep on following it up. They have to keep on making noise. Because, out of 54 lawyers who were killed, only 49, only five cases were filed in court. All the 49, wala. Nothing happened to those cases.
Attorney Rojas, do you think, can you discuss how we need to intensify those investigations and prosecutions of cases?
Well, for one, dun sa mga victims of violence, the lawyers do it for their clients, di ba? So sa atin, if it happens to lawyers, for example, at least ang maganda, if it happens to a judge, if it happens to a fiscal, then the lawyers, the judges association or the league of prosecutors, they will take the lead. In the case of lawyers, ordinary lawyers like us, it's a good thing that the IBP, at least the chapter, is on top of it. Kaya lang ang nangyayari nga, sa una lang, parang ningas kogon. So really what should happen is for more concerted action for lawyers, between lawyers also. Para naman, magkaroon ng ingay. Tama si Ginger, kailangan may ingay para sa lawyers. Kasi kung hindi, if we don't look out for each other, the members of the IBP, we don't look out for each other, baka in the end nga, baka tayo rin na mawala at wala nang tutulong sa mga nangangailangan sa atin. So talagang kailangan natin ingay. Tulungan natin ang isa't isa. And that is exactly where the IBP can come in. Let's all join together para naman yung ingay na ginagawa natin para sa mga kliyente natin, sa pamilya natin. Siguro ganun yung ingay Kaya maingay para sa ibang tao kasi tayo yung nag-iingay. Pero pag tayo na involved, it's either namatay ka, so relatives mo lang mag-aano sa'yo, ang gagawa nun sa'yo. Pero if we have groups, like the IBP, working hand in hand, then masaya yon kasi at least magkakaroon tayo ng mga updates, magkakaroon tayo ng sense of direction also as to where and how we can arm ourselves as members of the legal profession.
Attorney Tagarda, Attorney Rojas mentioned the term arms, and literally she also suggested that perhaps lawyers should be encouraged or allowed to the ease of being able to carry firearms and protect themselves. Any thoughts?
Yes, sir. I think it should be a lot easier for lawyers to be able to obtain firearms to protect.
Pero paano yon? Mabilis na nga mag-retret ng salita, baka naman pagbunot na rin, gano'n na rin, paratret na rin ng
Actually, sir, I'm confident that, siguro 90% of the legal profession are composed of cool-headed, level-headed individuals who are trained to always be cool under pressure. So, yes, they could be bad eggs, sir. Can abuse this, but, I think the majority of lawyers will not abuse this privilege of owning firearms, sir. And yung sabi nga ni Attorney Cynthia, dun sa mag-ingay tayo, we band together. We can also add, sir, because what happens is yung possible assistance among us lawyers after the fact na The violence has been committed, may namatay ng lawyer, may na-threaten na lawyer. What I suggest is to go further, sir, because we have to bring the fight to these people, sir. that are threatening lawyers. Because when you murder a lawyer, when you murder a judge, you're not just committing murder. You're actually terrorizing the profession. You're creating an atmosphere of fear. I think you can relate to that, sir.
Actually, you're right. I think that's probably the point that they're trying to achieve. Sabi nga ni Attorney Ilagan is that the remedy is there, the writ of amparo, and yet ilan lawyers lang ba nag-file nun versus the number who have been threatened and or killed. How many cases have prospered na using the legal remedies available? Parang katiting lang na not many cases have actually either been filed or prospered because of fear. And you were saying that what you can do is not just be reactive, but be strategic and proactive.
Yes, sir. And I suggest, I think we have existing measures, sir, actually, based on, I think it may be radical, but I think we should invoke the anti-terror law against the.
Really, how is that? I know it's like the other attorneys mentioned, dapat pag-usapan, dapat mag-ingay. Ito maingay talaga na topic, and this is something you can ride on, perhaps.
Yes, sir. Because for under Section 4 of the anti-terror law, what's the definition? Engages in acts intended to cause death, serious bodily injury to a person or endangers a person's life, when the purpose of such act by its nature and context is to intimidate the general public or a segment thereof, as lawyers, create an atmosphere or spreads a message of fear. Okay po. So if we treat these people who are threatening lawyers, judges, prosecutors as terrorists, all the remedies, sir, under the anti-terror law can apply to them. If you may indulge me, I'll give a scenario, sir.
No, please do. Yes.
For example, sir, narco-politician in a province threatens a lawyer, okay? Or a lawyer already feels threatened in a case he's handling against this narco-politician.
Mm-hmm.
He can immediately file a case for Section 5, violation of anti-terror law, threat to commit terrorism. If you consider threatening lawyers as terrorism, sir. And then after that, his entire organization can be proscribed as a terrorist organization under Section 26. And then he can be detained without a warrant.
Mm-hmm.
And then the AMLAC can freeze his accounts. So all of these remedies, sir, mapapaisip ngayon tong mga taong to, is it worth to threaten a lawyer?
Mm-hmm.
Diba? And then all of these remedies, it's actually preventive. Diba? You were throwing a monkey wrench sa plan nila to harm a lawyer. Kasi sir, honestly, like what my colleague said, very busy kami, sir. So no matter amount of vigilance, sir, nagdadrive ka, may damaang motor sa gilid mo, di ba? Putukan ka doon. No matter the amount of vigilance, sir, talagang lamang yung mga killer na to dahil yun lang ang ginagawa nila . Yun lang, pinaproject ka lang nila .
Mm-hmm.
Ikaw, lawyer, marami kang ibang ginagawa. So, I think if we make it difficult for them, make them think twice, thrice, 4 times to even think of harming a lawyer, sir. At addition pa pala, sir, pwede nating i-wiretap yung mga conversations ng mga people who are threatening lawyers.
Yan.
Diba?
Diba, ang discussion ni Bas,
So, papasok tayo, the fourth, sa preventive . For example, diba, ma-wiretap mo yung telepono nung drug lord na nagte-threaten sa abogado. Di at least alam mo, boss, ganyan, di ba? You can act before it happens. And I think if we engage the IBP in assisting lawyers to file under this novel law, I'd like to think also, because I greatly admire lawyers, that they are not abusive people. I think hindi nila i-abuse yung remedies under this law, sir.
alam mo, maraming matutuwa sa iyo, Basco. Kasi yung discussion of terror law is really the use of the law, the wordings of the law to our advantage. Kasi parang nakikita lang ng mga tao pag sinabi mong anti-terror law, ang sasabihin lang tungkol sa NPA, mga ganun-ganon, di ba? So parang nagkakaroon ng negative impact yung law. Kaya, ang discussion tungkol sa terror law, it's really parang focused on the military, etc.
Yes.
Intelligence work. But really, as Basco has discussed it, pwede natin gamitin yung batas mismo eh. Yun nga lang, it's really a matter of really, siguro, telling people, arming lawyers with these particular legal provisions. Kasi, yun na nga eh, kung tinatakot nila tayo, pues mali yung mga tinatakot nila kasi mas maraming pwede tayong magawa para takutin sila. 'Di ba? Kaya kahit na meron tayong mga kaso, kasi kung tayo takot, just because we're handling very sensitive and highly publicized cases, medyo nakakatakot na yan sa public kasi tayo takot, di ba? So kailangan talaga, nasa utak natin that we're doing things right. Tama ka, meron man bad eggs, mas maraming good eggs. Sana tayo yon, di ba?
We're assuming that you are.
Tayo yun.
The best that we can be for our clients, for ourselves, and actually so that we can be of better service to others.
Yes.
This does seem like a better remedy, even more so than, or alongside with the amparo writ. And this is exactly what we were talking about earlier, about how you can weaponize certain remedies of the law to be able to help protect or in the defense of legal practitioners. But how about the literal weapons that you can arm yourselves with? Could you share your thoughts or personal experiences about being able, benefits of and with being able to carry firearms?
Well, for me, when I used to carry firearms, I was more level-headed. And, I was more patient with people because I always think, pag uminit ang ulo ko, baka mabaril ko to eh. So, hindi ako pwedeng uminit ang ulo. I was threatened before. That's why I was bringing. I cross-examined this policeman. And when I stepped out of the courtroom, bawal ang baril sa court, ha? When I stepped out, apparently he had his gun. Kinasahan ako ng baril. So, it's really better to have a gun and not use it, but than to have a gun and not need it, di ba?
Yes, that's very good.
Mm-mm.
Also, because it does seem like a fair argument, given that it has been observed that international race car drivers are actually the most defensive and safe drivers on the actual streets. They don't go racing against other citizen drivers or anything of the sort. They maintain the need for speed on the tracks themselves, and in the normal streets, they are level-headed and cool and follow all the safety laws and procedure.
And the lawyer should also not just have a gun, but know how to use it. Kasi mamaya, meron ng problema dyan, ipapambato mo. Papa-photo ops ka. You have to know how to aim and shoot. And
would you say there are a lot of lawyers who do own practice?
Yes. And, mahirap din kasi pag binunot mo, nabaril mo yung paa mo. Totoo yan. May mga naglilinis ng baril, nababaril nila sarili nila.
Mm-hmm.
So, lawyers should know how to handle a gun and how to use it.
At Ginger, kagaya ko, ayaw ko ng may baril. Una-una, masisira yung mga bag ko. Pag nilagay ko. So, ang ginagawa ko, may kasama ako na may baril, di ba?
Yan, pwede rin.
Yan. Pero, sa totoo lang, there are a lot of prosecutors. I think the Supreme Court allows, especially judges and prosecutors, to have licenses, pati license to carry outside of their residences. Pero, in extreme cases, basta ma-justify mo, even a private individual with threats, so siguro lawyers with threats, pwede rin mag-apply ng license. So, pwede rin. So, it really, kung meron kang baril, dapat lang marunong kang magbaril, di ba? Na meron ka kung hindi ka pala marunong. Ano yung display?
Pwede naman talaga. Paperweight. Paperweight. Pwede naman talaga. It's just that ang hirap-hirap, ang dami-daming requirements.
Ah.
Oo.
Like, then in that
Able
sense,
to provide the ease of owning that.
yeah, is in owning them. Kasi
Yeah.
it plays naman safeguards like the firearms and explosives unit of Kamkrami, of the PNP, can somehow make the requirements. Sila rin naman makaka-check niyan kung valid o hindi eh, di ba? Wala din nga pala kung i-allow din tapos mahirap naman ang requirements. So dapat talaga kasama din natin.
What can lawyers do then? Is it like on an individual level, or is it more of as an organization like the IBP, for you to be able to influence the appropriate agencies to make it easier?
For me, going to Krame kasi is difficult. You know, you go there, you're with other people. Sometimes you don't really feel safe there. So maybe the IBP can have a day, can arrangement so that one day lahat ng lawyers na may kailangan pupunta. Parang RFID.
Yes. that was very helpful when they had for special groups.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
It was less chaotic.
If I may add, I think aside from helping lawyers to secure guns, I think the IBP as an organization should likewise help lawyers in assessing security threats,
Right.
to spotting potential dangers to them. Because at this time, there are, of course, security experts in the field who know about these things. But as lawyers, we cannot spot potential dangers. So ako, as a matter of personal policy, I do not hold meetings outside of our office. Only on rare occasions that I accommodate requests for meetings out of office. And in those instances, I would always make sure that someone knows the details of the client and my whereabouts. Kasi before, syempre, I'm pretty sure that there are lawyers who are similarly situated. Parang nag-meeting sila outside, meet kung saan-saan. Kasi these are prospective clients. But when my close friend, who is also a lawyer, was violently killed last year in Batangas, ito yung lesson that my friend told us, na every time you go out of office for official engagement, make sure that someone knows your whereabouts. Kasi what happened to her dad, when her dad was violently killed, they cannot trace the locations of her dad. So from that time on, I make sure that it's my personal policy. Kung medyo yung kliyente, medyo ayaw pumunta sa office, medyo magda-doubt na ako. So, dapat papayag lang ako na out of office meeting pagka deferred by a close friend. Otherwise, I won't entertain any inquiries. So, I think the IBP should also teach and train lawyers in assessing possible security threat or danger to us. And I'm sure there are experts.
Seminars.
Have there been, would you know of,
None.
such seminars or trainings, groups that are advisory in nature?
No, not that I know of.
Discussions on threats. Yun siguro, nagkakaroon ng mga seminars on threats, but actually arming the lawyers with knowledge of what to do and how to assess. Parang wala ko naririnig. Maybe that's what we can do as members of the IBP, na i-suggest natin ito. Kasi the spate of violence is really alarming. Pwede natin gawin to as a project. Maybe we can suggest it to our group, Ginger and Roel.
Actually, sa amin po, sa yung law school fraternity ko po, yung Utopia, may group kami ng mga gun enthusiasts na mga brads. Tapos they conducted they invited brads na, want to learn how to shoot. Tapos may in-invite na security professional. Yun nga, yung sinasabi ni Rowie na situational awareness, pati sa vehicles on how to So yeah, I suggest if we can recreate such kind of seminar or na IBP sponsored per chapter, I think a lot of lawyers will join that also.
And it's gonna be part of awareness, di ba? Yung kanina, yung dating, yung awareness. So dagdag awareness yon, to be able to apprise and know what these threats are. Kasi sa totoo lang, minsan masasabi mo lang sa close friends mo na, uy, grabe yung kaso ko, medyo delikado. So, then they'd warn you not to be careful, etc. But I think more than the lip service, these are the actual things we can do to be vigilant and to be armed with the knowledge and the law as to what we can use to somehow combat siguro, how violent one word, to somehow nababawasan din yung violent acts sa atin.
Yes, in terms of the defense of the legal arts and protection of the law profession, it does seem like, well, actually, it's unusual. It seems strange that ilang hundreds of years na nagkaroon ng practice ng law in the Philippines, and yet there still isn't any conscious effort to have a standard procedure of safety, mindfulness, and protectionism amongst the practitioners themselves. Given that there have already been organizations of lawyers. Is that something that you can bring up or raise in terms of organizations such as the IBP?
Yes,
We will, yes. Thank you.
we will.
You opened our eyes to what we can really do, what more we can do for ourselves. Actually, thank you for this opportunity.
Because it does seem like rather than being reactive and just trying to pursue justice for cases already for crimes already committed against lawyers, it really is more of being able to show that you can't just attack lawyers and representatives of order in the country because you are likewise not just dealing with individuals, but you're dealing with an organization and you're dealing with a principle of the country itself. You're talking about law, you're talking about peace and order, which you are among the bulwarks or the line of defense for common people like us.
Maybe, Rowie, you can also suggest that sa school, di ba?
Definitely, and will be part of the curriculum, probably an elective subject.
Yes.
Yes, it was brought up that it was mentioned on several occasions that the teaching of the law of the teaching of lawyers and the actual practice, there is a divide, or there are occasional disconnects, and this is clearly one of them. Your defense doesn't just apply to the ones being defended, but even for the defenders themselves. And like you mentioned earlier, if you can't defend yourself, why will that person trust you to defend them? So it's a chain. It's a domino effect. It's a link with one another. Would you agree?
Definitely.
Definitely.
So I guess one of the things that would be good is for you to be able to call out to the fellow lawyers that not to be afraid, perhaps, and to speak out and speak together, and have the conversations and have a common voice and a common thought regarding such needs, such as defense of the legal arts. And I understand that one such opportunity is coming up towards the end of this month. So this month is not just happy Chinese New Year, by the way, and happy Valentine's. I hope you had very red days in the positive sense. Very good. Have had a very good February so far, but also towards the end, on the 27th, you will be having your IBP elections. Is that do I have the date correct?
Yes.
Maybe we can ask people to please do turn out and vote, whether online or on site, and you can ask them to share their views regarding protection for the law profession. Maybe we can start with Attorney Tagarda.
To my fellow lawyers, please exercise your right to vote in this upcoming IBP elections, and make sure that the people you are voting for are the ones who would really, like what the Fort had said, would really become our spokesperson and we really work for us and for our benefit and for our safety. So, there.
Attorney Castillo, would you like to invite the lawyers to choose the right people to defend them, the defenders of the defenders, so to speak?
Guys, I've been with IVP for the longest time. Uh, IVP should unify all lawyers. It should stand for each and every one of us. It should be vigilant in protecting its rights. So please vote wisely on Feb 27. Choose the right people. Choose those who think of everyone, not just themselves.
Thank you, Attorney Castillo. Attorney Rojas, having the legal profession running in your veins and in your heart also, could you please share with us the wealth of experience that regarding how banding together and defending one another would be very beneficial, especially in terms of the simple vote that each one of them has in their hand?
Well, actually, a while ago, it struck me that you said we should tell our fellow lawyers not to be afraid to act together. Parang ang hirap nung not to be afraid. Especially kung ang mga kaso mo mahihirap at delikado. No?
Yes.
What we can really do is to make a difference and be the difference by voting and exercising our right to vote in the IBP election on February 27. It has been made easier because of the pandemic. The Supreme Court has realized na dapat pwedeng i-allow na rin ang online voting. So there's such a thing as online voting. The deadline is on February 22 for those who wish to vote online. They just need to accomplish the intent to vote and have it notarized. For IBPQC, you just need to message us through the message any one of us through the fort. I hope you allow us, the fort, if there are people who wish to connect with us to try to help them, because we really, as members of IBPQC, we want to make a difference and we want to help as many people as we can. And with that, I really encourage the young and the old siguro by online voting or whatever, but the young blood, this is really our call to action for them to make a difference by voting and by encouraging other lawyers older or the same age to vote on February 27, either online or on site. So see you on the 27th.
Thank you, Attorney Ross, for those words. And now for Attorney Ilagan, both as a practitioner and as a professor, perhaps you can help bridge the divide between the theory and the practice of protecting our legal practitioners.
Of course, to the fellow members of the legal community, especially to my students and former students, if you want to change the system, if you want to improve the system, and if you want to address the issues that concern the members of the legal profession, the best way is to have a collective voice. And that collective voice is manifested by casting your votes on Feb 27, 2021 from 8:30 to 4 o'clock p.m. You can cast your votes on site or online. So please, to my students and to fellow members of the legal community, exercise the right to vote, not only to make a choice, but more importantly, to make a difference. So see you.
Thank you, Attorneys Ilagan, Rojas, Castillo, and Tagarda. This has been the Manila Times Coffee Break webisode titled Defense of the Legal Arts, Protection for the Law Profession. Good day.